Welcome to Dad Bods, Crab Cakes, and Sports, where husky, middle-aged men share insight on the latest Baltimore sports news. From the bank to the yard and beyond, we're breaking down the Ravens, Orioles, Terps, and more. Baltimore's best sports podcast starts now.
Music licensing reimagined.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us this evening and listening to us on your drive into work. Jason here with Mike and John, and tonight we have a special guest, one of my favorite people in the whole world, a friend of about 35 plus years, Jim Isfording. Jim, how's it going?
Oh, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Jim's here to give his insight on this little tiny horse race that's going on in Baltimore this week, the Preakness, and also he is a avid Browns fan, a lifelong Browns fan. I'm really sorry, buddy. I am so sorry.
We'll see you next year.
So he's gonna get in on some O's talk, some NFL schedule. He's here to hang out this evening. Although he did fit us into his busy single life schedule, as he said. So I appreciate you fitting us in there, big fella.
You got it, guys.
Cool. So, Mike, John, what's going on? Anything new?
I had to get a pair of rain boots because at work, my parking lot doesn't like when it rains, like in Florida, it rains really, really hard in the afternoon, and the parking lot doesn't like drain properly. So was it Monday where we got rain all day? I think it was Monday we got rain. I didn't have rain boots, and I had water up to my ankles trying to get out to my car. So my legs and stuff were all soaking wet. So I went on handy Amazon, ordered some nice high quality steel-toed black rain boots. So now I have to bring rain boots to work just in case if it rains in the afternoon.
I really don't think I can get that 15 to 20 seconds back in my life.
Yeah, John, can you remind the listeners what you do for a living?
I sell
high salesman, Mike.
Yeah, no, I sell cars that you have to fix or repair daily.
Yeah, he's a people person.
Yes, well done.
That's right.
Michael, what about you, man?
I'm glad you got dry feet, John. I'm planning a little trip here to play some golf down in South Carolina. So I will be closer to you guys in the Florida weather than, up here in Baltimore, where it hasn't been bad. It's just been rainy the last couple days up here. But I don't think anything's worse than the Orioles' performance right now, even the weather. So that's all I got.
Very good.
What about you, Jason? What have you been up to? You're working now, right? You're not retired any longer?
No, I'm back into retirement again. I'm currently retired, enjoying the taking care of coal life. That's really what I do. Try to fit in the beach and the pool every once in a while. It's a tough life, let me tell you.
That's what grandfathers do. So just get used to it.
Ain't there yet. I still got a couple weeks left.
Grandpa Jay.
Oh gosh, tell me about it. Well, Jim, I understand that part of this, part of you coming on was I had to agree to say that you were right about the Orioles, and I'm I'm sorry you just found out about our show, there, buddy of 35 years, but if you've listened to us for the last few months, I have completely done a 180, and I hate life. So, I mean, I agree. There were since June and July of last year. I mean, I think we look at their record, Mike. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. I mean,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And Jim, I wrote a nice little poem about Mike Elias the other day. You missed, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And I think
you didn't sing it. You just read it, right?
I mean, I read it with some emphasis on some different syllables. I mean, it wasn't a poetry slam, but it wasn't a song. It was something in the middle. My mom gave me a hard time. She listened to it the other day. She was like, "How are you criticizing those Orioles? They're doing their best." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Mama, I am so sorry. You must have raised a little hoodlum." But the big thing, I think, Hyde seems to be just like frustrated after these games these days. Did you guys hear his tone in the press conference, all that kind of stuff? It's like he doesn't know what's going on. What is your thought, John? What do you got going on over there?
I watched some of the game today. I listened to the rest of the game while I was selling someone a car, and I just finally turned it off because I just was like, we're hitting the baseball today. We're hitting the baseball better today, and then the pitching just didn't hold up on the back end, And then there was the one where Cedric normally would have stolen that home run back, hits him right in the palm of the glove, and then pops over the fence. And it's just kind of, we talked about this, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, Jason, you were talking about like Adley, how Adley's barreling the ball up more than any player on the team or something like that. There was something you had mentioned about that. And then I saw that today, and that I was just thinking about it. He's hitting the ball hard, like 108 mile an hour off the bat, just right at people. But we're still not, I still don't think we're playing fundamental baseball. And what we talked about last time about the hitting coaches and stuff. It just continues to bear.
Yeah, it's those expected numbers, the expected average. And like you can only take them so far, but I mean, he's getting quality swings on the ball. He's making decent contact, but he's having some terrible luck. And I mean, Jim, I don't know how you feel, but I mean, I'm at the point, and it's not even like 500 baseball. Clearly, they're 11 games or so behind under 500, but it's like you turn on, like they're winning like 1 of 3, and it's to the point now where it's not even like good baseball to watch.
Well, it's got to be disheartening, time and time again, having your pitching let you down. I can only imagine if you don't have a good defense, it's hard to go out there and play offense. I mean, I saw it happening at the end of last year, really, especially with Adley. I think we all did. I just think he's trying to be the guy too hard, too much. And, we don't have enough leaders on the team. That's been my main problem with the team. And that's what I wanted us to get at the trade deadline. And we didn't. So now we're stuck in another year of baseball with the same basically team without an ace of a pitcher and one of our strong hitting guys that was a huge, leader in Santander. So,
yeah,
Jim, let me ask you a question, Jim. Who would you bring in to be that vet? We talked about this last time. Who would you bring in to be that veteran presence?
Well, I think I was looking for a trade, and I know at the trade deadline, one of the things that Jason and Frisky were mentioning is that, there was just too many teams that were still in it to really make a move. I think we were looking at back then at pieces from the Astros or Cardinals, like maybe we could get one of their guys. Billingsley was intriguing to me. They tried to pick him up. Just somebody that's been there and done it before. That's been to the World Series, that knows how to win, knows how to get there. And if we couldn't get in the trade, I was really hoping in the offseason that they could find somebody like that to either trade for or pick up in free agency.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that we talked about, and I specifically talked about a couple of weeks ago, was exactly that. I mean, the trade deadline is such a tough time to bring in those key players because that's premium pricing. So if you want these guys, that if they are available, then you're paying like crazy out the nose type pricing. Where it should have happened and where we've been struggling here, Jim, is that Elias had the opportunity to add all of these pieces and other pieces on the offseason and totally did not. Now, I get not going after some of the pitching for giant contracts. I mean, that's just not going to be an organizational thing they're ever going to do, whether we want them to or not. They're just not going to give 7-8 year contracts to pitchers. And I mean, let me just stop what I'm saying for a quick second. How would you all feel right now if we signed Burns? And with the year he's having right now, obviously he'd be an upgrade for us, but it's not the same Burns as last year. So how would everybody feel? Mike, like, how would you feel that? Would there be some frustration there that you just gave $250 some million or whatever it was that it cost for a pitcher that's producing like that?
I mean, I think you have to give the guy a little bit of time. He has a track record. I think that's what I would be looking for. Like, he's going to turn it around at some point. I mean, he has way more good than bad in his career. He's still in the prime of his career. He'll be just fine. I'd be okay. I wouldn't be jumping off a bridge if Corbin Burns wasn't pitching well to start off the season. I think I'd be upset maybe if he was hurt, like if he had gotten injured, maybe I'd be a little bit frustrated. You know what I mean? If like, let's say he had, the old UCL or something like that and something was going wrong, maybe that would be like, okay, I got to pump the brakes. But right now I'm just frustrated because you're saying they didn't do anything. And we've talked about that so much. There was available help and they just decided that they didn't need certain people that I thought would be helpful. They went a different direction with older veteran pitchers, Tyler O'Neill, which is I don't know, seems like a poor man's version of Anthony Santander that can only hit one direction. And they didn't go after a big bat to like supplement the middle of the order. They thought they had those guys down the farm, so they just didn't think they needed it. So whether it's Mike Elias, like we talked about, kind of having his own way of doing things, or maybe Rubenstein's pinching, I don't know what's going on, but there was definitely the opportunity to do something in the offseason when the prices were more reasonable, like you said, Jason. They just didn't do it. At this point, you watch them play baseball. They're inventing new ways to lose. Today, in the first game of the doubleheader, they had 6 walks. They were getting on base. They left 10 men on base. The other team had 4 errors. It was like it was a made for them to win kind of game, and they still couldn't win. They just keep getting in their own way.
Yeah, that's a tough one because like you said, Mike, it is now. I mean, bad baseball teams find a way to lose games. They don't find a way to win games. I mean, there hasn't been. I don't think they've won a game this year, and it's like 22 losses or more of when they had been trailing after 6 innings or something. And that, to me, it's just not the same Oriole team over the last few years. And we've been saying it recently. It's just when they get down, like I don't have the confidence that they're getting back. So it's, to me, what Jim's right. Like as far as bringing in those veteran guys, and again, the trade deadline is a tough time to do it. But like I said last week, an Arenado would completely change the. I mean, I don't know what kind of leader he is, but guys seem to like being around him. Mike Trout was one, and I thought, Jim, that was actually a guy that we mentioned last year that I thought I had heard rumors that the Orioles were real quiet, and then they were going to try to pounce on that, and then he got hurt before the trade deadline, and they couldn't get him.
Yeah, shocker there. I love what the Boston Red Sox have done. I really, really do. I mean, I wanted Garrett Crochet. I don't understand why we didn't get him. Or at least try for him. Maybe we did, but it just seemed like the price Boston paid for him was a steal. I loved them picking up Walker Buehler. You guys know I wanted him. I loved Bregman. I loved that pickup. A veteran presence, just like I was saying. I don't care if it's third base and we have 3 of them, and guys waiting in the wings. This guy could change the direction of your team. This guy could give you that spunk. He could take the heat off of somebody like Adley and just go out there and play.
And that's where the frustration lies here too, because we've obviously been talking about the fact that they have this plan in mind on who they're going to bring in and what they're going to do, and they don't seem to ever want to go away from that. And John, I mean, Bregman, that's a very good point. Like we had mentioned him during the offseason, but we all kind of like pushed it under the rug because we're high on Westberg and we're high on these other guys, which is great, but they're hurt. I don't think you can ever have enough Major League Baseball talent. And unfortunately, this regime doesn't seem to be able to operate at the major league level as well as they do the minor league level.
Oh, absolutely. I think you can't not pick up a good bat or a good arm. I mean, you're going to need it at some point in time during the season. And, I mentioned this a couple months back. We're paying Charlie Morton the same price that the Giants are paying Verlander. That we couldn't go and get a veteran leader like Verlander in this clubhouse. And I think that may have made some differences if we got a guy like that. But I agree. I mean, I think you can't ever have enough high quality experienced bats and arms. There's no such thing. If you got to designate one guy for assignment who you're like, you know what, he could be really good down the line, but we brought Bregman in instead. I don't think any Orioles fans would cry if a guy like Mayo or something got designated for assignment and got picked up by somebody else, but we had Bregman instead. Or if you have a problem where you got to move Westberg and Holiday and Gunnar around a little bit, DHing and doing other things to get him in the lineup on a daily basis, but you have Bregman. I don't think you're going to worry about that at all.
No, and you're right. I mean, you find room, good organizations find room for good players. And for whatever reason, we're holding on to Mateo and Urias, and that's all you have right now. And those guys are actually important to this specific team because they put themselves in that position. So, I mean, it's very frustrating over here, Jim. I mean, I haven't asked these guys this yet, but we can go around the horn. How do you think they finish off this year? Gun to your head.
In the beginning of the year, I said they'd be an average team, 81. Now I think they're lucky to win 60 games, to be honest. I just don't have any faith in them. And I hate saying that about any of my teams, but I am a Browns fan. So I lose faith very quickly. I mean, I would say they're not going to win 60 games. I finished last in the division. Why would I say anything else after seeing them play for a month and a half? You know?
That's funny. I said the same thing last week. 60 games is what I thought. I think they'll be picking in the top 5 of the draft, or maybe top 3. Figuring out how all this pans out. What do you think, Mike? Are you optimistic, pessimistic?
I'm trying to be realistic. I think the fact of the matter is they're a bad baseball team right now. There's some help on the way. I don't think it's enough help to push them beyond the 500 record now at this point. But I mean, they sit 11 games under over the first quarter pole of the season. So if they repeat that performance, you guys are correct in kind of the territory where you're at. I think they're going to be incrementally better maybe after the All-Star break. I mean, I don't think they're going to light the world on fire or anything like that. I mean, if they can finish with, high 60s, low 70s, I'd be pretty pleased after this start, I think.
Well, the reason why I do think that if things keep going the way they're going, some of these guys that they're counting on to come back, they're not going to push back. So there won't be a Grayson. There won't be a Bradish. There won't be Wells. They're not going to push these guys to come back and play an integral part if they're not in it. So that would be my reason on why I think that they'll continue to lose.
Yeah, I could see that, but I also could see the pressure valve being released a little bit once they realize that, it's not going to be a winning team. You could see they might bring some of these younger guys up, see what they have. And the silver lining in all of this could be we've been complaining about the at-bats that these guys have been getting, like Jackson Holiday and Kerstad and Mayo, and they're not getting enough at-bats against lefties or righties and all this kind of stuff. That's the time at that point in the season to let these guys play and see what you got. And so the silver lining is we couldn't figure out which minor leaguers to trade and which ones to keep. You at least get to see these guys at the major league level and know maybe who your horses are and who's expendable. Obviously, that's going to decrease trade value, but at least you know what you got, what the commodity is.
Yeah. And John, what do you think?
I would say the kind of 81 and 81 thing is probably pretty accurate. I don't see, unless Cowser comes back and starts hitting 330, 340, 350, we get Westberg back and he's hitting in the upper 2s, low 3s. I think that at the I guess the plus side to all of this is we do have pieces in our lineup who would be valuable to a playoff contending team. O'Hearn is going to bring something pretty decent. Mountcastle would bring something pretty decent. They're going to have to make a decision on Mullins. Are they going to sign him to an extension, which I would love? I mean, he plays great defense in center field, but, or is he a good selling piece that you can either get a high quality, high level minor leaguer that may not have a spot somewhere else, or, what are you going to do? But I think they're going to have to make a decision by the end of May if they're going to be buyers or sellers. And if they're going to be sellers, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think we need to see there's a positive light in both ends.
Well, there you have it. Orioles, doom and gloom. The sky's officially falling, but everyone take cover. Okay, something else very interesting in baseball happened this week. The Hall of Fame eligibility for Shoeless Joe Jackson and Pete Rose. Because they passed away, apparently the rules now change. And dictator, Commissioner Manfred, he, I guess, changed the rules, Jim. And now that these guys are are no longer with us, it's okay.
How is that okay? How I don't understand why. It's almost like a slap in the face, like to the families of these players. I just don't get it. Like poor Pete Rose, who even said out loud, "I don't ever want to be put in the Hall of Fame if I'm not going to be in it while I live." I mean, I just feel bad for him. I feel bad for all these players. They should have been put in a long time ago, in my opinion.
No, I agree with you. And I mean, I think it's like banned for life. I guess if you're not alive, it doesn't matter anymore. But
Jeez.
it's so crazy. And Mike, to me, I kind of agree with Jim. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I've been a supporter that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame based on his accolades alone. I mean, Ty Cobb was like, there's a rumor that he killed somebody, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Like,
far
he
worse
wasn't exactly
guys are
right.
in the Hall of
You
Fame.
can go down that line. I mean, you got domestic abuse people. You have all kinds of terrible people in there, but it should be based on what you did on the field. And then the cheating thing, I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms, but you know what? I'll go into something else later, but yeah, I mean, Mike, what are your thoughts?
I mean, do you want the worst thing you ever did in your life advertised for everybody? And I mean, like, are you perfect? We still have a podcast. I'm sure there are things that, the world would not want to know about us in our podcast. But I'm saying this because the Baseball Hall of Fame should be about baseball. And if they have the statistics and they were a great player in their era, they should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. I think the same thing about the steroid guys. I 100% think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
I think Shoeless Joe should be in the Hall of Fame. I think obviously Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. And yes, those guys have had some sins that are against the game of baseball, right? Where you're betting on the game. Where he's betting on his team potentially even. We don't know what that looks like though. We don't know what actually happened. And so I think it's hard for us to judge those players based on what they did off the field. So why don't we just stick to what they did on the field, which is some amazing accolades. Pete Rose with the hits and the stolen bases and all that kind of stuff. And, Barry Bonds with his 70 home runs, like those guys should be recognized in the Hall of Fame. And it's really sad that posthumously if they haven't made it in, obviously they're now eligible to be in the Hall of Fame. But what's the point? I mean, we want to honor these guys while they're alive, and now they've passed away. Of course, their families will say, "Oh, great." I mean, but the guy who got in didn't even get to understand that he's in there. I mean, I think it's ridiculous.
So what? Now the Alex Rodriguez's and the Barry Bonds of the world have to sit here and wait till they die, knowing they'll probably get in after death.
Right.
I don't know.
And
I don't.
It's crazy. It really is. It's like I saw a stat the other day on Barry Bonds that if you took away all of his MVP years, like he would still have over 400 home runs and over like 300 stolen bases, which no one has in baseball. Okay, that's a Hall of Famer. Give it a rest. Like, and like the Roger Clemens thing. I mean, Rafael Palmeiro. Like that was stupid. Like 3,000 base hits and 500 home runs is an automatic trip to Cooperstown. Okay, that's like those are impressive numbers. So at the time that he did it, there weren't that many people that did it. So I'm with you guys, John. I mean, are you in the other side? Oh my god.
Yeah,
last show, just so you guys know, it's.
Well, I mean, I can see both sides. I'll be the guy kind of in the middle there. Like I get both sides of it. Baseball is still a very difficult game. Bonds and the steroid guys, they still had to hit the ball. They still had to do the hardest thing in sports. And for that reason and that reason alone, I think, they should be in the Hall of Fame. However, is one sin worse than the other? if you're going to put a guy like Pete Rose or Shoeless Joe, who I don't even, that was, I mean, you look at the stats from the 1919 World Series, Shoeless Joe led them in every offensive stat. So for somebody who was trying to throw the series, he wasn't very good at it, but if you look at it, it's one sin worse than the other. If you're going to let those guys in, you got to let the other guys in. And I think, it was an era type thing. And, you got guys like Junior, who didn't do those sorts of things. But how many players have there been like Ken Griffey Jr.? How many guys were there like Ken Griffey who just had the natural talent without having to take a little advantage? I mean, which one of us wouldn't have taken a little bit of advantage if it had been available to us?
Right.
And that's all they did. They just took a competitive advantage. They still had to hit the ball, still had to throw the ball, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny that specifically about Junior and Barry Bonds. Apparently, that whole thing, I don't know if you guys heard this story, but apparently it was in an all-star game, and Bonds and Griffey were standing in the outfield talking, and like it was during the Sosa McGuire home run thing. And he's like, these guys aren't half the players that we are. And like somebody has to do so. He's like, I'm going to do something about it. And Griffey's like, what do you mean? He like walked away. And from then on, you saw the numbers increase. So that's the assumption that Barry Bonds did steroids, which is whatever. I mean, again, to me, it's they're some of the greatest baseball players of all times. And the whole Shoeless Joe Jackson thing, it was never actually proven that he was involved in that whole thing. So he just kind of got caught up in the wash. And he's one of the best baseball players of all times. So, I mean, at this point, I don't know how many of his family members are still around or what anybody really thinks.
Well, see, Shoeless Joe was not an intelligent individual. He couldn't read or write.
Right.
He if you hand him a piece of paper, he can't even do it because there was, he was from south of Georgia. He couldn't read, write. He was just more or less dumb, but he could play baseball.
Right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest though, it's like, yeah, it is a slap in the face. I mean, if they do get elected in the Hall of Fame, I mean, it's well overdue in my mind. It just is terrible the way that it came out. And I know there's some pressure coming from the president actually put pressure on baseball to do this as well. So again, I don't really know if it's a good look, but better to be in, I guess, than not overall. Okay, well, this brings us to why Jim is here. The top reason, besides just hanging
He's
out.
here because we like Jim. That's why Jim's here.
Yes, that's what I was told.
Right.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Jim, so again, this little horse race is happening this weekend in Baltimore, the second leg of the Triple Crown, which is kind of pointless because the Kentucky Derby winner is not running. Is that correct?
Sovereignty is out. Yeah, good old Bill Mott strikes again. He, is a very conservative trainer, and obviously a horse like Sovereignty likes to come from behind. And I don't think he thought really had a shot here. It's just a modern age. It's the modern age of how these guys train horses. They're not as durable as they once were. I mean, it's sad. It really is sad. This is the fourth time since Justify won that we've seen this happen, and it just, in my opinion, dilutes the sport. I mean, we're not. Every horse in that Kentucky Derby, if they win, should, by law, be in the Preakness, unless they are hurt or injured, which this horse is not. So it's frustrating on my end that he's not racing.
Yeah, and it looks like for the Preakness, there's 9 horses, right? If I have that right, and then the both D. Wayne Lucas and Bob Baffert both have horses in this one as well.
Yeah, D. Wayne has American Promise, who I liked in the Kentucky Derby because he's a good finisher, but he just didn't have it that day. I think he finished close to last. I'm not really high on him. He is more of a long shot here. Goal Oriented is Baffert's horse. He's got a tough pole position at the 1. He's a fast horse. I think if he breaks well, he does a great chance here. He's just very, inexperienced. So I know a lot of my experts that I listen to just aren't high on them. But I mean, I really think it's a 2-horse race here, in my opinion. Obviously, journalism, is a huge favorite. He's right now, I think, 8-5. I think, my opinion, by the time the race goes off, he'll be more like 4-5. But yeah, he's the heavy favorite. It's tough to go against that horse in this race, in my opinion.
So if he goes off at 4-5, how do people make money in this race?
Well, I think like I said, there's a lot of horses, long shots you can go for. Hope they come from behind. I mean, I love a horse called Clever Again. It's a horse that is just increasing in efforts every race that it's been in. I loved its last race. I mean, his figures are amazing. He goes up to the front. He's going to stalk in that 8 position, which I love. So he can just stalk at the 3 or 4 position and let horses like Gloriad and probably Pat Billy stream out to the front and get tired. So I mean, if you're going to pick a horse to put in front of journalism, that's the horse I would pick.
Okay. So give the folks an exacta and a trifecta. If they want to put some shekels down, Jim, who are they putting shekels down on?
Oh man, nobody's going to hold this against me, are they?
Yes. So Jim's phone number is 443.
God, you're breaking up. I mean, if you want to make money, I like Clever Again in front. Definitely put journalism in there. And a third horse, I like. I like either River Themes or Sandman. I'd probably put those 4 in a superfecta box. And I like Sandman coming from behind. I don't think he'll have the distance to catch up. I think it's a 2-horse race, in my opinion.
Enter Sandman is one of my favorite Metallica songs. Just saying.
The problem with Sandman is he's also a fan favorite, so he will be bet down too, which is good because I'm hoping Clever Again's odds will just go up.
Hey, what do you
I was
think
trying to be
about?
clever again with my joke. That's why I was just trying to be clever again.
Oh, I gotcha.
And let me tell you all out there, if you're listening, though, I mean, I can attest that Jim does know his stuff. I have won some shekels off of Jim's recommendations in the past.
Oh man.
Hey Jim, what do you think about this Gosker in the 9 slot 20-1? I was reading one of the articles before the show about him and how they think he's going to be, moving up a little bit. Do you know anything about that horse?
Yeah, I mean he's definitely a stalker. He's definitely one of those come from behind horses. The only problem with the Preakness is, more than I think it's 75% of the time, if you're not one of the lead horses in this race, you don't stand a chance. And I think, good.
No, Jim, just I know you're talking about that. Can you kind of break? I'm not a horse racing guy. Can you tell me why the Preakness differs from the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont? And I know it's distance, but I don't know exactly what the distance is. And can you kind of maybe describe that for the listeners?
So yeah, it's about a half a furlong longer than the Derby. The Derby and the Preakness. Derby's 9 or 10 furlongs, and the Preakness is 9.5, which comes to about 1 mile and 3/16. So it's a shorter race by half a furlong, but that means a lot to a horse. And the Preakness is designed, the racetrack's designed to be more of a sprint track. Its angles are sharper. There's really less room for error. You have to be durable. You have to be assertive. You can't just wait back and try to make a push because that stretch is so small. It's not as long as the Derby when you watch 14 horses have a chance at the end. That's not what the Preakness is about. So it definitely challenges these horses to have to be adaptable, and then not just rely on, the same old, track or speed that they're usually used to running.
Nice, absolutely. And I will tell you, I have some great memories from going to the Preakness over the years. I know you. Well, I don't remember all of them. from being in the infield.
Too many black-eyed Susans or
Yeah, man.
Bud Lights.
Well, you could bring in your own beer, so
That was
definitely did that.
that was dangerous those days. Porta potty runs and people throwing stuff in the air. Who knows where it lands?
Oh, yeah.
But they were fun. Definitely fun.
Jim and I and a group of friends would rent a school bus and take the school bus. Now, none of us drove it. We did have a driver. And one year we were waiting in line to get into the Preakness, and the Baltimore Sun took a picture of all of us outside. And we're all on the front page of the Baltimore Sun. Now, the funny part to that story is my crazy brother, the girl he was dating at the time, was very like possessive, like didn't like him to do a whole lot of stuff without her. So he told her that he had to go out of town with his my parents for like the night. And then all of a sudden he shows up on the front page of the Baltimore Sun. So you think so he ran over to her house the next morning and grabbed her paper from the front porch so that they wouldn't see it. Greatest Preakness story ever.
Was that the year Barbara got hurt?
Yeah.
I think it was.
So my brother's like, it's a guarantee. He's like, he puts like $200 down on Barbaro. And then at this point, it's like, we're all been drinking all day. And he's like, where's he at? I don't know where he went. And then all of a sudden the race stops. And I'm like, something's, and then we saw we could barely see the race where we were in the infield. And then you see up on the board, I'm like, he's not even in the top 3. What happened? And then we found out that he got carted off.
Yeah.
And with the broken foot. Oh, that was crazy.
Didn't you guys valet park cars there too? Was that you guys?
That was me. And I think your dad did it at one point, John.
My dad, and Gary and Shildy and all those guys all went down and parked cars at the Preakness for as long as I can remember. One of them parked, I think, Steinbrenner's cars. They were telling my dad was telling me stories about the people he saw and the cars he parked and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I mean it's crazy down there. It was fun for a while, but yeah, I did it for a couple years. Made a lot of money doing it.
If you have not ever done it, it's not as crazy as it once was, but it's definitely something to put on your bucket list. I mean, the Preakness is amazing. They always have great artists there performing. I mean, everybody's just having a great time. The weather's usually great, and you get bet on ponies. And what's better than smelling, horse manure as you drink beer and, and watch the bands play? It's great.
It's everyone's dream.
Yeah.
You couldn't ask for more. All right, so I hope you all wrote down those picks so that we can all make a couple extra shekels.
Frisky made those picks, right?
I don't even know what a horse is. So there are 3 legs to the Preakness, but don't horses or to the Triple Crown? Aren't there 4 legs on most of the horses though?
Yes. Yeah.
This is what I put up with.
I get confused sometimes. Jim, I have a question for you.
Okay.
You clearly, the way you speak, know what you're talking about with the horses. What got you into the horses? Like how did that become a thing for you? I'm just curious.
So my grandfather's from old Kentucky home. He grew up on the farm, horse farm, so it's in the blood, it's in the family. And then my parents, as I was growing up, always had a huge 100-person 5K'er Preakness bash to celebrate it. So I've been around them my whole life. I mean, I've been out to the Derby 3 times, and saw Mine That Bird. Cal Ripken won $10,000 or more on that horse just because it was the number 8 horse and it was called Mine That Bird. And it was like 50 to 1. And so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll throw $10 on it around the way through on it. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I love horses. I love the Triple Crown. That's why I'm so sad we don't have an opportunity to see one this year.
Well, speaking of blood, didn't I see that all the horses, was it in the Derby or the Preakness? They're all related.
The Derby, yes.
Derby. They all are at the same bloodlines in some way, shape, or form.
So in the Derby, they were all descendants of Secretariat. At some point or another, Secretariat has had, I think, bred 650 horses. Actually, his last daughter died just before the Derby or something. She was 35 years old. So, yeah, they're all descendants of Secretariat. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, that is crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's how West Virginia operates too, as a state for the most part. I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, man.
All the elected officials are all related. It's great.
That's where the family tree has no branches.
Oh, goodness. Well said, Michael. Well said. All right. Well, Jim, thanks for breaking that down, and we do appreciate that. Hopefully, we can make a couple bucks. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, if I bet on it, it's definitely not going to work out. I have not had luck in the ponies lately.
Unless you're playing against Mike and I, then you always win.
Yes, I haven't lost any contests we've played yet, Jim, with these two clowns.
Nice.
All
Undefeated.
right. So tonight also the NFL did their schedule release. Okay, Mike, I'll let you take this over. Like, what was the big surprises? What did anything stand out to you in general?
I mean, if we're talking Ravens specific, if I looked down the schedule, and I've spent a few minutes looking at it. But it's we start out with a really tough schedule. Like, I mean, they come out the gate with at the Buffalo Bills, a rematch of the playoff game from last year in Buffalo at Highmark, right? And then, that's a tough place to play. And then 3 of the next 4, you got Browns, Lions, Chiefs. So like you have Lions, Chiefs, Bills, 3 out of 4 to start the season. That's a tough stretch to start the season. And then the way that you look at the schedule, how it kind of plays out, 3 home games with a bye in there, 3 road games, and then 3 home games again, which is an awkward schedule relative to what we're used to, where, I mean, teams double up home and away sometimes, but it's usually, and there might be a 3 here or there, but to have three times in a row in one location is interesting, home/away, because usually it's a 1-1, 1-1 back and forth. So interesting that kind of caught my eye as well. John, what did you see?
I thought that in my head, I was thinking they were going to do the Bills Ravens to open it, because last year they did the Ravens Chiefs to open it, and I think they would do that. And I think it's going to be a very interesting schedule just as we get towards the end, towards December, having to go to Green Bay. If we're in a playoff race, if we haven't clinched it by then, we got to go to Green Bay. We got to go to Pittsburgh to end the season. And that could, play into our hands if Henry stays healthy and Hill stays healthy and we can run the football. But, I think it's a very difficult schedule to start with. And then it's going to be difficult, I think, pretty much throughout the season, depending on if the Browns, how they end up with quarterback, and the Steelers end up with quarterback, and the Jets end up with quarterback. There's a lot of quarterback questions in this Ravens schedule.
Yeah, and the one thing that popped out to me again, we talked about this.
Oh, that's good. I just posted it.
What?
Well, so one of our listeners. It's nice they gave us a bye. They gave us a bye in week 2 after the Bills. I don't know who Steve Sweeney is.
Oh, he's talking about the Browns.
Talking about the Browns. He's talking about the Browns game.
Who is that?
Oh my!
I mean, he's not wrong, but who is that?
Well, Jim, tell us. Okay, these guys just went on about the Ravens, so you tell me. How do you feel about the Browns schedule? Like, what do you foresee? Like, what are you nervous? What are you happy about? You tell us.
I'll tell you what I see. Thanks for bringing that up. Right off the bat, I see a first overall pick next year. That's for darn sure. I don't know. I feel like the Browns always have a tough schedule up front, and I feel like we're always going to Baltimore every year, right off the bat. I mean, the first half of the schedule is completely insane for the Browns. I see them going 7-1 by the bye. Maybe they might beat New England. Maybe, I don't know, but it's a tough schedule. I mean, and they get a little lucky, maybe with New York win or a Las Vegas win, and then they're 3-14. That's how I see it.
No. I get it. I mean, it's
Hope springs eternal.
Hey, you know what? You know what? If you win 4 games, it's a good year. It's a good year.
Hey,
oh
you
my
got a lot of
God.
quarterbacks in your quarterback room. So if you rotate one every game for 5 games, you can keep them fresh.
They're like
I think-
relief pitchers.
I think we just throw them all out there. We do a 5 quarterback spread technique. We don't know who's getting the ball. You know?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I wish I had words of wisdom for you, Jim. I don't know. I mean, look, there's always whenever the AFC North plays each other, there's always something. Doesn't matter what the records are, you can throw those out the window. I mean, the Ravens took one, Cleveland took one last year. It could very well happen again this year. I mean, especially like you do have a good head coach. You do have a guy that's, I think at least from the outside. So, I mean, I don't know what to expect. I know that when I saw the Thanksgiving Day game, we had talked last week about if we thought what some of these primetime games would be. And I thought that I didn't think we'd do Christmas again, as what we said before we took off here. But Thanksgiving, Cincinnati coming here, that's going to be a tough game. I don't know what to think, Mike. You tell me what type of record are we looking at? If we
We have a tough schedule. And I looked at, I think the AFC North in general, they all have a tough schedule. If you look down the line, I think the Steelers might have the weakest schedule of all. But as you look down the line, obviously that's based on, where you order a finish in your division and that kind of stuff. So we're going to obviously take the tougher of the schedules. As I look through, I think at Buffalo is going to be a tough game. At Kansas City is going to be a tough game no matter what, right? So if you could split that would be amazing. If you could win one of those 2 games, that would be fantastic. The Lions at home are going to be no joke. That's going to be a tough game. Like you said, Jason, that Thanksgiving game versus Cincinnati and at Cincinnati is always tough. I don't know who Pittsburgh's quarterback is yet. So until they have a quarterback, I'm not super worried. But if they get a Kirk Cousins in there or an Aaron Rodgers, they're always going to play us tight and tough. So you could split with them. If you look at the schedule, you usually think maybe split. Yeah, Jim, we usually think a 2 Browns wins, but the Browns always play the Ravens tough too. Every time we play a divisional opponent, it's a tough game.
You asked me, yeah. You asked me which quarterback. Am I team Sanders or team?
Yeah. So I texted Jim earlier tonight, and I was like, "Are you team Gabriel or are you team Sanders when it comes to the rookies?" So Jim, what was the response there?
Team Joe Flacco, baby. That's my response.
Are you trying to get Arch Manning next year? Is that why you're trying to lose all these games?
Oh my God, you don't have Andy. I've been talking about this for a couple of years now. I want Arch. I think he's gonna be a great quarterback. That's my opinion. I mean, I'd love to have the first all pick and pick him. I just think the Shedeur Sanders pick may have made that impossible. But of course, if we finish with a 3-14 record, anything's possible.
Yeah. Well, so I said the last thing real quick with the schedules at the Packers, obviously. That's another tough game, depending on who's healthy and all that, and who's resting and who's not. Towards the end of the season, some of that stuff gets a little finicky, but I see, 11, 12 wins probably. It sounds like a good number if I'm looking down the schedule and, going win-loss kind of thing. Just doing that real quick.
See, I just did it, and I had them winning 13 games with a possibility of winning 14 games.
Ooh.
And I don't think it's the way you all think. It's a tough schedule right out the gate, but something tells me that, I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm down on the Lions this year. I think the Lions take a step back a little bit. I still think they're a very good football team, but I do think that they take a little step back with the new offensive coordinator in house and different things. So I actually think they win their first 4 games, and then it's a toss up with Kansas City. And that's where I said it could go 14 wins or 13 wins. And this is trying not to be a homer. It's just going through these, knowing how the Ravens play. But it's also very conceivable that they lose 2 or 3 of their first 4 games. It's just, and a lot, it's way too, this is where what I was saying last week, it's very early. Obviously, our Darius Washington went down with a big injury. Like that, he was in your plans to be in your backfield. all teams have injuries all the time. So teams we could play might have major injuries. So that could all change. So whatever it looks like, the landscape looks like now, Mike, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Well, and I think a lot of the Ravens is going to come down to their kicking too. How is our special teams going to work out? Are we going to have a kicker who's good and efficient? Are we going to be able to do those sorts of things? And I think that's going to be a major thing for us. And can we, are our 2 rookies on defense as good as advertised?
I think we all know, you guys, your new kicker you drafted is going to be a Hall of Famer.
Hey, so is one of your 4 quarterbacks, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. That always works out. Have you seen our jersey lately? I think we're up to 38 quarterbacks.
God, 38. Yeah, so we've never drafted a kicker before. This is the very first time.
We've only had what,
Tucker
4?
What'd you say?
We've only had 4 kickers in the entire history of the team.
I mean, we've had guys in and out over the years. Like we had the Hauschka thing.
Yeah. We had
who was the other
Stover
guy?
for all
Graham
those years.
Gano was in there for a little while. They went on to have really good careers. So, I mean, Jim's right though. The Ravens do seem to have a knack for kickers. I mean, I don't know about the Hall of Fame and all that, but they do seem to have a knack for that. So, Mike, you were going to say something before John jumped in and ruined your life.
No, it was probably a bad joke. I don't know. No, just looking at the schedule, I could see that happening. But again, this exercise is a bit futile because we don't know, what the roster is going to look like going into the season. We just saw the Ravens lost Ardarius Washington to an Achilles for the entire season, and in a sport like NFL football, there's going to be injuries, and that's going to make its way through different teams here and there, even leading up to the season. Also, the rosters aren't complete. There's June 1st cuts. There's a lot of free agents still out there. So to do this exercise at this point is fun, but not necessarily accurate. So again, just kind of a caveat there.
I just saw something about the June. They were just watching ESPN. They were mentioning the Ravens are going to be in the buying market for one of the remaining safeties. I didn't see who was there, but I think that's going to make a difference too. Is who else do we get to put in that defensive backfield? Because a guy like Flacco can still throw the football pretty well. Depending on who's in our division, for the quarterback wise. But Flacco can still throw it. If they bring in Rodgers or Cousins, they can still throw it. And if we can't get a pass rush, that could be an issue.
So you're saying maybe we do have a chance?
Oh, there's always a chance.
Hope springs eternal, Jim.
All right, 4 and 13. I changed my mind.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
as long as the Ravens get 2 of those 13, that's fine.
Well, Jim, let me tell you a story about how hope springs eternal in Cleveland.
Please.
I was living in Cleveland, and do you remember the Monday night game when the Browns lined up for a field goal, and then we blocked the field goal and run it all the way back? The Browns fans around me said, they're going to block this field goal. And they got up and left before they even kicked it, and he ran it all the way back. The Browns fans were leaving before the kick was go because we know how this ends, because it always ends. But I want to get your thought about something, Jim. Did you hear the rumor about them moving the stadium, building a stadium out by the Cleveland airport?
A rumor of it. Why? Is it true?
I don't know. They were talking about it on New Heights. Travis and Jason were talking about it a couple weeks ago and putting like a dome on it and things, which makes sense. But what do you think? Like,
I don't know. I'm old school. I love like watching football in the snow, and that's kind of what Cleveland's all about. They pride themselves on a nice run game, and that's how they grind out football games. That's how I've been brought up, cheering for the Browns. And a dome in Cleveland just doesn't sound right to me. But maybe that's how the future is. Maybe that's what all the stadiums will be eventually.
Jim, while we're talking Browns, tell me about the fall of Nick Chubb and kind of what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, really. I mean, you got how he got hurt again at the end of last year, and I know he's recovered and apparently ready to go, but the Browns just have moved on, obviously, with their 2 draft picks. I think he's definitely a free agent still, right? Nobody's signed him.
Yeah.
I think he's a great opportunity for a team to bring in a vet that can, maybe not in every down back, but he can still provide a lot of carries for a team and help him with the run game. I love Chubb. I think he's a powerful back. I hated him getting injured because I thought he was going to have a 10-year career till that happened. It was sad. That was one of the saddest days of my life, to be honest.
Yeah. So how do you feel in general, Jim, outside the quarterback situation, obviously, how do you feel about their draft? Like, obviously we told you that, we were real high on it. John and I both thought that those were 2 of our favorite team drafts.
I guess I loved the first day. I did. And, Mason Graham is a huge hole in our defense that can plug and play right away, and he's a beast. I don't care how many times he gets sick on the practice field. I think he's going to be a great NFL starter, a great pick. Them trading down, they could not pass that up. That trade, they definitely won as far as the giving up Travis Hunter. They just weren't ready for a receiver like that, in my opinion. I think it was a great trade. That we have so many other needs we have to fill. Getting that that big guy in the middle is huge. We need that to solidify the D. They probably also promised, Garrett that, hey, if you come back, we'll get you help. Don't worry about winning a Super Bowl. You really want to be with us. We'll pay you whatever it takes. But I'll tell you what my favorite pick was. It was in the second round, Carson Schwarzenegger. I loved that pick. Knowing that JOK is probably done, might be a career-ending injury, which is sad again, that he experienced that at the end of, what was it, week 12 or something last year. He's not coming back all next year. I don't think he might ever come back with that neck injury. So that's another plug-and-play guy that I think is going to be, our strong linebacker for many years to come. And I didn't mind, in round 4, the tight end pick. I loved getting Fanning Jr. I think he was a top-rated. In my opinion, I had him as a top-rated tight end, so I loved that pick. The running backs, they are what they are. We'll see what they can do. I don't really have a problem with them, but I did not like either of the quarterback picks. I can understand the Shador pick in the 5th round. Why wouldn't you take that value there, right? It almost was like all the other teams are saying, here, he's yours, really, take him. No, really. And, we got him.
See, I think with that pick, though, it's absolutely no pressure whatsoever. So it's just win-win. If he ends up being some superstar or being a 10-year starter, that's a win for y'all.
Yeah.
And whether it's with your organization or somebody else, by drafting him at that spot, all that pressure is gone. And I think all of us, the 3 of us, think that he is better than a 5th round talent. I'm not so sure he was worth a 1st round or a 2nd round talent, whatnot. And his father, I think his father him being Deion's son really hamstrings him. But I am not, I've heard nothing but good things so far from him. So,
I guess my main worry about him is he a good locker room guy? Is he a good leader? And I just haven't seen it. Maybe I'm wrong. I have been wrong before with my quarterbacks that the Browns have drafted. But, I guess I just wanted something else. I didn't really want them to draft him at the time. But the 5th round, like you said, how can you pass that up at that point?
Well, here's the thing. I think somebody mentioned it last week or 2 weeks ago, right after the draft, that even if he's fairly decent, you can convert him for a 3rd or a 4th rounder to somebody else.
Yeah.
You really improved you really helped your team out and made a, very good financial decision at that point.
Like what the Patriots did with Malone, was it?
Milton. Yeah, Milton. Joe Milton.
Yeah. Didn't they get a higher draft pick than where they drafted him?
Yeah.
That was smart. Yeah, I'm hoping for something like that. I mean, there's no way we're keeping both those quarterbacks on our team next year. I just don't see that happening. I see
You
one
never.
of them getting traded.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a fickle game, and it's tough because you need multiple guys in multiple positions clearly, and quarterbacks. I don't think you can ever have enough if you don't have that one guy. So it's like the balk quarterback strategy, Mike.
Yeah.
You
And so,
don't have one, you
Jim,
better have a lot.
yeah, you better have many okay ones. No, I think the question, Jim, for me is, and this comes from obviously I'm a teacher at Bel Air High School, and Andrew Barry is an alumnus from where I teach.
Yes.
What is your opinion of Andrew Barry as a GM and Kevin Stefanski as a coach overall with the Browns? I mean, I know that they did the whole Deshaun Watson thing, earlier on, and now to do the Shador thing. Who's pressing the buttons? What do you think's going on there, and what are your feelings on Andrew Barry?
Yeah, I'm Frisky. I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I'll tell you right now, like Jimmy Haslam is Jerry Jones Jr. running the show over there and ruining the organization. I completely 100% blame him for the Deshaun trade. I blame him for a lot of things really of why the Browns haven't been able to really put a team together. But like it just he can't stay out of the GM's business. I don't like how Stefanski handled the team last year. I don't like how he handled Deshaun Watson. I know he didn't really have a choice in the matter, having to defend him, saying he's our guy. But I just think what was better for the team at that point was just going a different direction. So I don't know. I kind of lost a lot of faith into Stefanski last year. I think the GM's really talented. I think Barry's really talented. I just think he just needs to be left alone by the owner. That's my opinion.
I think it's a lot of the stuff. I mean, you look at the talent that they had on offense and Njoku and Chubb and things, and then owners just get in the way, and then it just becomes a dumpster. Like that song, "The Browns Are a Dumpster Fire."
Well, that trade.
We all saw that one, right?
Oh God. No, can you sing it, please? Please sing it.
He hasn't listened to it enough times. It's okay. Oh my goodness.
I just think that trade set them back at least 5 years, if not longer. Like if they didn't make that trade, that's 3 first-round picks that could be on the team next year, right? And Baker Mayfield's still a quarterback. I mean, he's proven himself in Tampa Bay. I mean, I know he was more immature with the Browns, but he could have grown into something maybe, especially with 3 more first-round picks that given them to Houston.
Yeah, I mean, in the Browns, fairness to the Browns here. I think the wide receiving core he has in Tampa is better than any wide receiving core he had in their prime in Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, he had Beckham, and who was the other receiver you guys had there for a while?
Cooper,
but before
Jarvis
that,
Landry.
Landry,
Landry,
the possession guy. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Tom Brady. Tom Brady in Tampa had a better receiving core than he ever did any time outside of Randy Moss. And it really opened him up. And he had some guys where, I mean, I think a lot of people give credit to McVay too for when he was there and with the Rams for a short period of time, seeing something in him and then passing him along, but unlocking something. And also just having the wherewithal to be patient with him. And I think Cleveland saw an opportunity. Can never blame anyone for trying to improve the organization. But if you do miss on some, like you said, Jim, it can really hurt and it'll set you back. And unfortunately, that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, now I'm sad, guys. Thank you.
well, don't worry. We're going to cheer you up because we're going to play a game here in a second. But before that game, we're just going to recap. So Jim thinks the Browns are going to win 4 games.
Yes, 4.
And Mike thinks the Ravens are going to win how many games?
12.
12. Okay. That looked like 21 to me, just looking at it, just so you know.
I was
And
just
how
throwing up
many
gang signs. No, I'm just kidding.
games- I would predict how many games the Browns would win, but I didn't look fully at the schedule, Jim, and I don't want to make you any more sad.
Yeah.
So we'll
that's
let you go. So you say 12. And John, you have how many games?
I think the Ravens are going to win 14. I think
Ooh,
they're
no.
gonna. I think they're gonna. I think the first loss is to the Chiefs, and then they'll just have a couple hiccups throughout the year. But I think 14 wins. I could see the Browns. Just in looking at their schedule, depending on who the quarterback is and how they work all that out, I could see them winning 7, 8, maybe 9 games, just kind of depending how the whole quarterback situation works out and who comes up. And I mean they still got Myles Garrett, they still got a fairly decent defense who can cause some problems with the quarterback. So I could see them winning 7 games, maybe 8.
So Jim, we'll lend John to you so he could be your hype man.
I was going to
because-
say, John,
Oh, that's great.
are you a life coach? Are you a life coach?
Well, see, my dad is a Browns fan, so I grew up about
okay.
this, and my friends know my father very well, and he needed some help as the Ravens are winning Super Bowls and leaving Cleveland and things like that. He needed some help, so I've been a very good encourager for the Browns fans.
You're used to it, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I'm going to say, because John said 14, I'll go with my original thought of 13, just so I don't have to agree with John.
We agreed like 3 weeks in a row on like 4 different things, and Jason almost fell out of his chair, and Jess had to come save him.
That was pretty terrible.
Who are your Super Bowl picks right now? You guys?
Oh, much
Yeah.
too soon Super Bowl picks. This is a fun one. Way to put us on the spot, John.
I'll just go with the Homer picks. I'll go with the Ravens, and we'll go with the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, interesting.
I think Jordan Love has matured as a quarterback, and I think he's just getting better every year, and I think he's gonna lead the pack. I have
Michael.
too many friends from Wisconsin.
Let's go all birds. Let's go Eagles, Ravens.
Oh
Man.
Jim, you really put me on the spot. Can you go?
So, I don't think I'm picking any birds, that's for sure. I've had enough of birds. You know what, guys? I'm going off the deep end here. I think the Denver Broncos are making it to the Super Bowl this year. I think I'm going I'm going Denver Broncos, and I'm going Detroit Lions. That's my Super Bowl. Write it down. Can we curse
Bo
on this?
Nix, the Fighting Bo Nixes.
I don't know.
I think they're going. And here's another bold prediction: Chiefs are going to finish 3rd in their division and barely make the playoffs.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Have you made that prediction before? Because I feel like I have tried to do it and it just backfires on me.
On the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very dangerous game to play. I'm playing it.
So
When you're a Browns fan, you live on the edge. That's just what
Right.
you do.
plus 2,500 to win the Super Bowl for the Denver Broncos. So put a couple $100 down, and you can come out with a couple thousand.
That's right. Bet it. That's what.
Jason, you're
Forget
thinking
it.
way too hard. This is just way too early off the cuff.
I know, but I don't.
Sorry I did it. I'm sorry.
I want to pick the Ravens, but I
Nevermore.
I did.
never
Take that.
I mean, I also picked the Orioles in the World Series, and you can see how that's going.
Hmm.
That was stupid.
Come on, Uncle Gary, you got to help us out up there.
All right, what the hell, man? Who's in the NFC? I'm gonna go Redskins, Ravens.
Woo!
There are no Redskins. That's not a team.
I know, but you know what? It's stuck in there. I can't get rid of it. Am I supposed to apologize? Do I have to write a letter to somebody or do something?
Nah.
You're just not allowed to have a sunburn all summer long.
That's true.
Jesus.
Oh, good Lord. All right. So Commanders, Ravens. That's my Super Bowl pick for now.
For now.
That'll change next week once I figure out who's in the league and stuff. So. Okay. Who wants to play a game? Everybody? Sweet. So I just introduced this game last week. It's called Who Am I? And it's a trivia game. It's in 3 categories. Because Jim's here, I will not do a Ravens category. I'll do 2 Orioles categories and a 3rd category of just general sports. So what it is, Jim, is it's a tiered system. So I'll ask a question.
And we all cry.
And then you guys can cry.
Is that what the tears are?
Right, exactly. Well done, Mike. So I asked the question. If you get it right on the first clue, like first of all, you got to raise your hand. Whoever goes first, blah, blah, blah. And then if you get it right on the first one, it's 5 points. If you get it right, if you don't know and you guess and you get it wrong, you get -3 points. Then you go to the next tier, and that's for 4 points. If you get it on that one, same thing. And it's -2 points if you get it wrong. And then all the other ones are -1. And all the way down to the 5th one, which would be 1 point. So if you're confident, you want to guess it on the first one, by all means.
Can we, like in blackjack, can we surrender and take 2.5 points?
You can just do what Mike did and crawl under the desk and just let John go into negative point jail.
I think I was only -15 last time, man.
Yeah, you did great, John. Well done.
Well, I have a real opponent tonight, which makes it incredibly more difficult, which I'm scared.
Yep.
And it's baseball, and John knows baseball better than football, I feel like.
Oh,
well, this is Orioles, and the first clue, it's going to be a multi information for you guys. Make it
write
easier.
this down.
Played for the Orioles from 2001 to 2007. He's from Rochester, Michigan. And he was a outfielder, first baseman. That's your clue. And you don't get to ask any questions.
We can't ask Google.
You can't ask Google. Yes, you either have to have praying hands or put your hands up like the police are telling you to put your hands up in inner city Baltimore.
Oh, you changed that, right?
Yes.
Did you get a complaint on that one, Jason, from last week?
No. I tried to take a shot at the Baltimore City Police Department.
No. Don't take a shot. That's not good either. You're digging yourself a bigger hole.
Anyone want to take a guess?
I do, but I don't want to lose
an idea. I have an idea, but I'm not ready to guess.
I don't want to lose any points.
What the poll says, I have an idea. All right. In 2003, he was named Orioles team MVP. And he did some things. He hit 23 home runs, drove in 100 RBIs, batted .277. I'm giving you guys all kinds of free information here.
Mike's hand is up, Jason.
Yes, Michael.
I'm just going to guess. It could be wrong, though, but it might be right.
That's part of the game.
Yeah.
Jay Gibbons.
What'd you say?
Jay Gibbons.
Yes, you are correct. Well done. 4 points to Mike.
I could have gotten 5. That was my guy last clue, but I wasn't sure.
I had my problem is my mind was going between Nick Markakis and Jay Gibbons. I couldn't remember when Nick Markakis went to the Braves. Was that 2011?
No, he was on the 2012 playoff team.
So it was 2013 when he went to the Braves.
He was on the 2014 playoff team too.
Was he?
Yeah.
Wrong era.
No.
All right.
It wasn't just me. I'm glad it was just me thinking of Markakis.
Yeah, it was definitely. But
yeah,
I knew it wasn't.
Great, Jim. Great minds think alike. So
thank you.
That's always good.
God, such a good life coach. What's your hourly rate?
Well, at the car dealer.
He's got his boots. That's all that matters. He's good to go.
I can tread through hell or high water because I got high boots.
That's awesome.
My goodness. All right. Next Oriole category. Let me make sure I got this right. Let's see. Okay. This infielder played for the Orioles for 12 seasons. And let me give you just a little bit more information. He was a Rookie of the Year. And you guys aren't raising your hand yet. Okay, good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And a more than 5 time All-Star. Ooh, crickets. There's no crickets. Hold on. Let me go.
Say that again, Jason.
I don't
many
want to.
years? How many years do with the Orioles?
12.
12 years.
And he won the Rookie of the Year with the Orioles.
Is there a
Correct.
timeline here?
Not yet. It sounds like he's holding on to that.
Oh, yeah. I'm not just going to give it to you right away. Then you guys might know. Okay. Anyone want to guess for 5? No? All right.
No. Listeners can't hear us shake our heads, can they?
This is also one of my favorite pieces of information now. Oriole team MVP. He won it 7 times.
7 times. I mean, I got a name in my head. I don't know if I'm going to say it.
I
Just
do
one?
too.
You only got one name in your head?
Yeah, just one.
I do too, but I want to hear. Hopefully, he tells the years at some point.
Oh, does he? Well, you know what they say about hoping, John. You can hope in one hand, and well, you know the rest.
7 times.
7 times.
But he played 12.
He must have been pretty good at baseball. No.
Okay, that was the 4-pointer. So for the 3-pointer now, he was a career 287 hitter. Okay, he had over 3,000 base hits and over 500 home runs. What the hell was that,
Eddie.
John? Yes, John.
So Eddie Murray.
Yeah, Eddie Murray.
It is Eddie Murray. Did you say it, Jimmy?
I said Eddie, but then.
And then you didn't repeat.
Well, I was going to say.
All right, I'll give you both 3 points.
Yes.
You both get 3 points because he's the guest, John. So you have to be nice to him.
or I
So you
won't
both
come
get
back.
3 points. Mike is still winning by 1. Final category. This is going to be a good one. So give me 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. No, I'm just kidding.
So I was going between Eddie Murray and Brooks Robinson until you said the
Me
home
too.
run thing. Until you said the home run thing.
I was on
Because
Brooks.
I
Were you
was
on
counting
Brooks?
the years. And Brooks, I think I just read the Earl Weaver book. So there's a lot of stuff about like Brooks and Frank Robinson. But I don't think he won the Rookie of the Year, and I think he played 16 seasons for the Orioles.
I was thinking about my short game, and if I should try to chip more or putt more, when I go on my golf trip. I wasn't thinking about Orioles. So
Well done, Mike.
Definitely chip.
So Mike, you should be in negative points because if you're playing golf, negative is better than positive.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, well
that's
done.
that comment was subpar. I don't know what you're talking about.
that was good.
So terrible. All right. So last category. And we're gonna go back to one of my favorite categories, American League Rookies of the Year. 1993 American League Rookie of the Year. Praying hands or police hands, please. Thank you.
American League, you say?
Correct. American League. Yes, that league.
I have some ideas, but I'm not sure yet.
All right. Well, nice try.
How long do we get for you?
I didn't try.
Do you need a couple seconds, Jim? I'm gonna count down from 10 in my brain.
Am I going to be asleep after that?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
fine.
Category 4-pointer. He was a career California and Anaheim Angel from 1992 to 2006.
John had his hand up.
Yes, John.
With Garrett Anderson.
You are incorrect.
Oh, I
And
think I
you
know this.
lost 3 points, so you're down to 0.
Oh, I know who it is.
No, I got
Great.
it. Right.
You keep quiet. No. You were disqualified. You lost. Michael, guesses?
I have some names in mind, but I'm not ready to guess.
Oh, Jason, I know.
I'm going to mute John because everything he says at this point is now irrelevant in this game.
No, but I can guess. I can guess again the next question, the next round.
Goodbye. Okay. So now that that's taken care of.
I think he's trying to say something.
Yeah, that's fine. Jim, any guesses or no?
Tim Salmon.
Yeah, correct. Tim
Hey,
Salmon
that was
won.
yes, that was the one I was thinking. Good job, Jim. Way to be brave.
Oh,
It was just those. It was between those. It was between those two.
so you still
Garrett
didn't know.
Anderson or
We
Tim
got it,
Salmon.
Ryder. We got it.
Well done. Okay, so Jim, that is for 3 points, and you had 3 points. It's a total of 6. Michael, you have been defeated. You are now 1-1.
Yeah, I knew Jim was a problem.
I
Jim
knew
was
there
a problem.
Welcome to my life. Goodness gracious.
I thought Jim won you money, Jason. I thought he helped you
He
win
did.
money on the ponies.
Well,
So he doesn't seem like a problem. It seems like he's a blessing.
Yeah,
See, Jim, you're a blessing to others, even
My
if it
God.
doesn't feel like that.
What do you? How much money do you want? I'll Venmo you right now. $100. How much is this session right now, John?
this is
Well,
terrific.
it's been an hour and 20 minutes on here
Yeah.
at 50. Well, my PhD costs so so
There you go, John. Look, man, now you don't have to do all those other odd jobs and do the car sales thing. Look, perfect. You found your calling.
Man, so what's the prize? Is it just a free session of life coaching with John?
You get an invitation to be a co-host on Sunday night if you'll take it.
Oh my goodness! Wait,
The Angels really like their fish players, with Tim Salmon, Mike Trout.
I was thinking that,
Yeah,
Mike.
you
I was
really
thinking the
just-
same thing.
huh? How
Oh
about that?
man.
There is
All
Something
right.
fishy over there.
Well, I mean, that's all I have this evening. Do you guys have anything else, John?
Hey, did Catfish Hunter play for the? No, the Catfish Hunter never played for the Angels.
He played for the A's.
He played for the A's.
I'll give you one more. The PGA Championships this weekend.
Oh yeah. I was gonna do this, Mike.
As much as I want to see Rory just keep winning, I love JT. My long shot sleeper pick is Wyndham Clark. This guy, he has won there before, and at Quail Hollow. And in 2023, when he won the U.S. Open, the tournament right before that was Quail Hollow, and he won that too. So I love this guy. He's a long ball hitter. I think he's going to win. That's my sleeper pick. And right now, he's 10,000 to 1. Get your money in.
Crap. Yeah, I'll definitely be doing that. Jim, how did you end up in the Masters? How'd you end up with betting? Any of the pools? How'd you finish?
Oh, the Masters.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the Masters. No. Actually, I did win some money. I mean, obviously Rory was the sexy pick, so I won some like top 5 player, top 10 player, stuff, but nothing really huge.
I do think the one thing I was going to mention, I almost put this on the show sheet about this event was it's funny because what if Rory did just keep winning and all of a sudden he gets the double Grand Slam, which that hasn't been done yet, has it? I don't believe it has.
Has Tiger done it? I don't know.
I mean, it would make sense that he did because he's won so many, but
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the betting odds, and obviously Scotty and Rory are going off like 5 to 1, something like that, as the favorites. And then I think Justin Thomas at 18 to 1 is not a bad bet. I know you mentioned him, Jim.
I love Thomas. I think he's coming in hot too. Tiger's won every tournament at least 3 times.
Oh, well, never mind then.
He's won the Masters 5, PGA 4, U.S. Open, and British Open 3 times.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
He's good at golf.
yeah, he's good.
I mean, he was really good at golf. Now he's good at golf.
Yeah, I don't. He's not. He's out for the year though. I believe.
Yeah.
So, but soon his son will come in. Old Charlie, he'll be in here. Running the course down.
No kidding.
Hey, Jim, while we have you, one last thing about golf. The guy with the little A in the circle in his first name, how do you say that guy's name?
A with the circle in his name.
You know, a Berg, Iceberg, Aberg, Oberg, Aberg.
Oh yeah, it's Aberg, right? Isn't that it?
I don't know how you say it. That's why I was trying to figure it out.
I know
That's
you're
how I
talking
always say
about.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that symbol very well. I was just trying to see if you knew.
No, I don't. Nope. Not that guy.
Cool.
It
Well, Jim,
reminded me of the Anaheim Angels logo with the little halo around it.
With the
You know what
halo
I'm
on top.
Are you saying you
Yeah.
guys angels in the fairway? Is that what you're saying?
saying? Right.
It'd be a great movie.
That would be a great movie. You hit a ball in the woods, all of a sudden the angel picks it up and throws it in the green for you.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Well, Jim, thanks so much for hanging out with us and for giving us all the tips and whatnot. We hope to have you back here shortly. Like I said, Sunday would be great. Think about it.
And if none of them pan out, I'll never come back. And if they all do, I'll be here every night. Okay.
That'd be great.
Fantastic.
Thanks for joining us, Jim. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Appreciate
Give me
it.
some
Mike?
things you need to work on, Jim, so I can think of ways to help you out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll contact your secretary. I'll get her on the phone right now.
Oh, fantastic.
All right,
Mike,
guys.
you want to wrap it up?
Sure will. That's going to do it for this episode of Dad Bods, Crab Cakes and Sports. Thanks for hanging out with us this evening. Don't forget to subscribe on Red Circle, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're at it, leave us a review. It really helps us out. We're trying to spread the good word about Baltimore sports far and wide. Be sure to follow us on social media for more behind-the-scenes action, memes, bad sports takes, and you can find us at dadbods_crabcakes_sports on Instagram and at dadbods crab cakes and sports on our Facebook page. If you have a question or topic you'd like us to cover, hit us up at dadbodscrabcakesandsports@gmail.com. You never know, we might just shout you out on our next episode. Until next time, keep rocking the dad bods, eating the crab cakes, and never miss a game.
Ciao.
Adios.